Well, hello everybody, this is Paulo Jasmine Gonzalez. Welcome to my channel. Look, I just had the incident that happened with a transgender athlete defensor and the other person taking a knee. In all honesty, I do want to say that I support transgender athletes and I would love to see them competing in sports, and we should be allowed to compete in sports. And I say we because I play sports. Yeah, my sport is a little bit different. I will talk about it later. But I do play sports. I also do practice martial arts. I also do professional wrestling too, you know. And again, I saw the video. I know what happened. In my opinion, I I do have swords because I don't practice fencing, but I have had stage combat, you know. And there's always a few things that people forget about a sport like this, you know. I think in a sport like this, there's more about a skill set that you need to have to compete in a sport like this, you know. And right now, I will say like this: I'm 5'7". If I will compete against somebody that is taller than me, I'll probably lose because they may probably have a little bit of a more competitive advantage than I will have, unless, of course, I decide to go right-handed because I am not left-handed. Anyway, yeah, but again, I also practice esgrima, and I will say it from my perspective. I practice professional wrestling too, and in my opinion, I think that if you want to become better at a sport, you should remove all gender ideas from top of your head. Because if you want to compete and practice in a specific sport, you should practice with and train with people that are better than you to become better at the sport that you're playing. You know, and I think the excuses that seem to be coming from some of the women that are against trans athletes competing in sports seems to come from a perspective of them not wanting to probably put themselves in the position of training more, you know, because in all honesty, any athlete, you know, you should train more. You should train against people that are different than you. You should also help people that are in your team training improve, and that happens if people in the other categories also train with the other people and help them improve, you know. And I know for certain things that I've seen some um, when I was younger, like in Puerto Rico, like everybody will play everybody. Even in volleyball, I competed in a co-ed, and it was a Christian Evangelical high school. When I was in Puerto Rico, we had women and the boys and the girls playing in the volleyball team together in a tournament that was done in my school, and this is in back when I was in the 90s. So it's so much bullshit that is coming out from Republicans passing laws and bans about transgender athletes that is just ridiculous. And in my opinion, I like that John Oliver from last week tonight talked about the subject because I do agree with some of his points. So, and there's one specific point that I like because I think sometimes I feel like this idea of not allowing trans women to compete in sport or transgender people to compete in sport come from a place of misogyny. So let's look at what he has to say, honestly. Okay.
Advantage is roughly 13% in the 50-meter freestyle, but less than 6% in the 1500-meter free, which is still clearly significant. But in general, there's a lot of overlap in the average performance ranges of men and women. Basically, it is not the case that any man is going to be stronger or more athletic than every woman, which is sometimes what gets implied here,
Exactly. I do
by
agree with
Donald
that.
Trump, who brought Riley Gaines, the former college swimmer who's become one of the most prominent voices on this issue, on stage to say this.
Just to show you how ridiculous it is, look at me. I'm much bigger and much stronger than her. There's no way she could beat me in swimming. Do we all agree?
Again, he thinks that he's going to win, you know. Yeah.
I don't agree, but I would like to see it.
So do I. I would love to see that competition just to see Donald Trump being beaten in swimming by an actual athlete, honestly, because I don't think he probably can swim for his life, honestly. Anyway, but yeah, I do agree that this seems to come from a place where men think that they are better than women and that they are unbeatable against other people of the opposite gender. And one thing that I have learned, because I've been playing table tennis lately, is that never underestimate your competition. And before people go and criticize me, oh my God, you've been playing table tennis. Oh my God, you should be playing uh, men only and yada yada. You know what? In my opinion, I play table tennis against anybody. And the competitions and the tournaments that I have been to, I have played against men, especially the tournaments that I've been going lately. I've been playing against men and women and people even older than me. And look, I underestimated somebody older than me in one of the tournaments. And you know what happened? I lost. I lost against somebody older than me. Yes. Abuelito beat the crap out of me. And there's people that says, oh, I should be playing sport and all that kind of stuff. You know what? I will continue playing table tennis. I will try to go to more tournaments. Whether I have an advantage or not, I will continue playing the sports that I like because I want to play sport. I want other people to play sport. And if I had money, I would start my own league. And again, the comments sometimes also come from people that understand sports. And a lot of people forget about one thing, the Olympics. If you watch the Olympics, in the Olympics this last year, there was a mixed double tournament. And I can show you quickly. There was a mixed double tournament in table tennis. So at the Olympics. Here we go. Mixed doubles. Everybody like to talk about Transgender, but people forget about the mixed double tournament that was in the Olympics. Sorry, commercials.
And if you don't have the right auto covers, this
Oh
can
my
really
God.
blow your
That's a
budget.
commercial for our state.
Should be a
But here we go. Here's a little bit of the tournament. Mixed double. Men and women playing together in a tournament in the Olympics. Don't see people complain about that, How unfair is that, Then again, it's a mixed double tournament, so it's loud. But somehow, nobody has an issue with this. Nobody's complaining about this. Nobody's complaining about how fair the other team could be. Nobody. Maybe because it's a mixed double and it was allowed. But there's always a unfortunate events of transgender people competing in sports and people saying bullshit comments and criticizing those people without understanding how sports work or understanding the skills that are required of people to play a specific sport. And again, yeah, maybe in the Olympics, that was allowed because that was the purpose of the rule. But notice that I don't see United States competing in there. Maybe because here in table tennis, maybe the women they don't want to play against the men or compete or play with the men because oh my God, we're playing men. We shouldn't be playing men. Too bad we don't have a team there in the United States. We didn't win a medal in there because we didn't have representation there. Um, in any case, the point is, and my point is that transgender people should be allowed to play sports, and I will support transgender athletes in whatever sport they wish to compete or play. And like John Oliver says, there's sometimes not too much of a difference there's overlap on the times and all that kind of stuff. Even me, I was looking at the Olympics, at the records, at the times in the heats of swimming. There were some women that actually could have beaten some of the men that were competing in swimming in the same event. Yeah, I checked the time. I checked the Olympic times, and what he said is totally true. So I think we need to start looking at sports from a different perspective. Understand that there are sports that require skills, sport that inherently they may have some advantages or not. For example, in basketball, if you are really tall, you will have an advantage. Like for example, Moxie Bogues, he was short, but he played in the NBA. And maybe we should start considering the idea of opening co-ed leagues where people of any gender could play. I will watch that. That will make interest for interesting plays and games, in my opinion. So there's that idea, but it needs financial backing and people and athletes willing to step up and speak up to allow other people of any gender to play, and trans people specifically, because honestly, if people want to play a sport, we should be able to play it. We shouldn't have to deal with people criticizing us or preventing us from playing, or passing, or government passing laws to prevent us from playing a specific sport. Because in my opinion, that is unfair and that is unjust and that is pretty much limiting us as human beings, And we're never going to go away. I'm not going to go away, and I'm guarantee you that I'm going to be playing in more table tennis tournament. And as a matter of fact, if anybody, my challenge still stand up. Anybody wants to play against me, table tennis, I'm open to accept your challenge. Anybody, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter if you're transgender or not, or you're a guy or a girl, I don't care. Or if you're the president of the United States, definitely I would love to play the president of the United States. Let's put that to the test. Can he beat me at table tennis? I would train for that one so much because I would love to beat Donald Trump in table tennis. Yeah, I definitely want to beat Donald Trump in table tennis. Anyway, I don't know if he won the elections, he may try to cheat on table tennis too. Yeah, no. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next video blog. Bye.